The world is comprised of many interconnected parts that work together to create a thriving ecosystem. If the world was a building, humanity would be at the top because nothing can reach us. Yet if the foundation were to crumble, we would end up on the ground on the same level as everything we overlooked. The question is, why would the building fall? And the answer is, like to any interconnected system, one change can cause a chain reaction and bring everything down. Maybe, if you're lucky, you will survive through the rubble. Plants are the foundation of our metaphorical building. They carry the energy all the way up to the top and help sustain the higher trophic levels. Declining plant growth would destroy forests and change habitats. And if growing conditions worsen enough, forests can actually release carbon rather than sequester it due to the plant growth decline and the rotting incline. The question is, what would happen if plants are lost to climate change?
So important for our environment. The trees around us are clearing the air, they're providing shade, they're filtering the pollutants. Plants provide food for us. They stabilize the soil so we don't get erosion. If we lose some of our native plants that have been doing this work in the past, then we are going to get more pollution, we're going to get warmer climates that other things, animals and other creatures in the environment won't be able to survive. And food as well. Our native plants produce a lot of food for birds and mammals, and if we lose those, some of these invasives that are coming in will not be able to fill that niche in the environment.
If plants were extinct, so is humanity. Climate change isn't just our problem, it's the world's. The foundation holds, for now, but we move forward to bees and pollinators. Bees are the walls of our building, and learn more about them from Julia Arsenault, a local beekeeper in Haliburton. Like that the vast majority of plants that produce rich seeds are insect pollinated. In fact, 1 out of every 3 bites of food produced is made possible by bees and other pollinators. But walls can fall, and because of human actions causing increased temperatures, plant ranges are shifting dramatically, which will move specialist pollinators with the host, as said by Julia Arsenault. But bees are having trouble adapting. And the walls are starting to shake. The roof. We're getting closer and closer to the sky, and the building keeps on getting taller. It's the carnivores, wolves to be exact. Carnivores rely heavily on the energy provided by plants through herbivores. If the foundation were to crumble, the roof would break. Climate change is a problem on all levels. Maybe humans can't see that problem from the spire, but if they were to come down and take a closer look, they can see the climate change from the roof.
Wolves are impacted by climate change because we have a differing climate that's been altered because of the increase in CO2 and because of our change in the actual ecosystem. We've always had that kind of really heated area around the equator, but as it gets warmer, it's moving more and more up. So we're getting more melted, less permafrost, that sort of thing. So even though a lot of places are going to suffer from lack of precipitation, lack of water, we're going to actually get an increase in water up in Canada, and we're going to have kind of a shift in an actually increase in productivity of the ecosystem, opposed to, like, say, the States, it's going to decrease. So actually Canada's going to really flourish in the next couple of or next 50 years because of the amount of greenery that's going to become. Like, we're going to have less coniferous trees, more deciduous, and kind of everything that's like that Carolinian belt is going to actually move north. And because of that, wolves actually flourish in the areas that are the most remote, that have those prey that are the beaver, the deer, the moose, that are interacting with that really deep, dense, like hardwood forests and the deep, like pine forests. So what's going to happen is, as Canada gets more and more productive, less cold, more growing season, we're going to actually move north and move our farming, move our development, and as we move up, we've already been seeing this, the wolves are going further and further north, and it's the coyotes that move up with us. And so as the coyotes move up with us, they're going to interbreed with wolves, and which we've been seeing with our Algonquin wolves and coy dogs, coy wolves, and we get a kind of change in species. So it kind of puts that like pure gray wolf at risk, because they can only go so far north until we don't have any more land, because they don't do well with humans in the same way that deer and coyotes do. So wolves provide a lot to ecosystems, but because they're what we call the keystone predator. So they're the ones at the top of the food chain. They eat the deer, they eat the elk, they eat the moose, and the beaver. And that's what actually feeds on plants. So if we were to take away all the wolves, we would see an increase in that prey. So an increase in deer, elk, everything I just mentioned, and they would destroy all the plants in the area. Right? So if you decrease your wolves, you'll increase your prey, your herbivores, but you'll decrease your plants, right? So you have a change in the landscape. You're going to get more of like a grassland, more of a desert almost like ecosystem that's going to actually be negative towards all the other species. So it's a whole chain reaction, right? So when you take away that top predator, that's what's impacted us a lot, because with a huge increase in deer, all of our herbivores, we lose that ecosystem. And losing ecosystems includes losing marshes, which is our filter, our natural filter of water. It decreases our plant productivity, which is taking away that minimal amount of CO2 that we're boosting into the atmosphere. So with less plants, we have less filtering of the air, even more CO2 buildup. We have decreases in, with that habitat loss, we have less nutritious soils per se, because if we have less grassland, say, and the deer are eating up all our grasses, all our trees, all our saplings, then we're going to have less to actually farm on later.
The foundation, the walls, and the roof are all feeling the impacts of climate change created by the small tip of the spire of humanity. What about humans? How are we impacted? Global warming is accelerating sea level rise, which increases flooding for coastal communities. Wildfires are becoming more frequent, and the wildfire season is getting longer, along with the heat wave seasons and frequency. Climate change impacts our health, and rising temperatures will lead to more air pollution, longer, more intense allergy season, and insect-borne diseases spreading. Heavier rainstorms and flooding. I don't know about you, but I feel future generations deserve a beautiful world to live in. I want my future family to feel rain, see sunsets, and enjoy breathing clean air. Because this isn't just our world, it's a future world for generations of people and wildlife. But the building is strained to hold up, and we aren't going to fix it with luck, because once this building crumbles, even humans will become humble, because they will realize the importance of a foundation when the world starts living on just rations, and how much the walls supported us when we are going hungry at dusk, and how the roof kept everything running. No, humans will no longer be cunning, because the spire will now fall, and what's going to be left at all was what was there in the first place, before the human race. Before climate change changed everything.